Live, waiting. All right. It says we are live. And my name is Amir Zen, and we are joined today with the amazing Adam Williams, and we are streaming on Rumble, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So check us out on all of those platforms. Make sure to follow us all. Adam, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, and I look at my Facebook, and it's showing live with your beautiful face and my big smile. So we're good to go.
Awesome. I see that as well. That is a beautiful sight to see. Let's check Rumble real quick. Rumble. Yes, Rumble is working. That is awesome.
It got captions here on Facebook.
Pretty awesome, huh? Yeah, that's wow. I just noticed that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't notice that. That's a new feature. So we are going to be discussing the big topic all over social media right now, which is Israel and Palestine. Adam, let's see it. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, man. I'm happy to be here with you doing this for the first time. I've really appreciated you since the day I met you, bro. You know, in Southern California. That was 2017.
That was long.
2017. Yep, summer 2017. Because my niece was being born, and that's when we got to meet. Because I was out there in Cali, and we went to the calisthenics gym, and we went to the beach, and we were doing calisthenics on Venice Beach and everything, and that was awesome. That was at the beginning of you're like my first calisthenics teacher, and then then all those years with lockdowns in Netherlands, I got so much better there because we just lived outside to get away from this nonsense.
That is true. We did.
What I see about this nonsense from the last 2 days, nonsense in the sense of whatever part of it is propaganda, obviously. Condolences and blessings to all the people.
Yeah, I guess we always have to start with the disclaimer of hey, yeah, this is a horrible thing that's happening. Yes, we know that. We're here to talk about solutions and political theory. So we're trying to remove ourselves from the emotional mindset right now and trying to think of what we can do logically for the most positive solutions for everybody, not just one group.
Yeah. We were talking about this before we started. I think the first thing to consider as a viewpoint, as an imagination mode above your head, as a possibility, is that all of these things are, again, divide and conquer. They're all psyops to some extent. They move from lockdown advocates versus lockdown resistance people to mask versus no mask, to vaccine versus no vaccine, to left versus right, to every single thing. They just, Russia versus Ukraine, they just keep going again and again and again, and keeping people divided and with an inability to direct their righteous upset and anger at the actual correct people who are the ones shaking the ant jar of the black and red ants.
Can you actually discuss that, the shaking? I don't know if everybody knows about that. The shaking of can you explain that a little?
Sure. So if you have red ants and black ants together in a jar, they will just crawl around each other and it's all fine. But someone shakes the jar, they'll start killing each other. And that's exactly what they're doing to us.
Someone else, right? Someone not else, any of the ants, some outside.
Some third party. And that's what's happened again and again. Again, that's the framework which we offer as a possible way to consider this, which can bring down the emotions and allow us to maybe look at some pattern recognition.
That is amazing. And we have a lot of people right now joining us in the chat. We just said somebody said what's up from Philippines. So we got people all around the world watching us right now. We got a great comment here that says from Yevgen, ideally a united state between both sides to create a powerful country. And that's actually what I want to talk about a lot today. I have a tweet that I'm about to post on Twitter that talks about what I believe the best pragmatic solution is. I mean, we could all sit here and have idealistic, hypothetical, theoretical, desires for the outcome, but we have to be realistic here and see what's happened and what works in history and, go from there, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Exactly. Things have to fit into the paradigm of where we're at the moment.
Yeah. So if you're all watching this right now, please like this video, follow both me and Adam, and leave your comments and let us know what you think about this issue that's been going on for longer than most people watching this video have probably been alive, right?
Absolutely. That's been a strange thing to see these last few days, is people making comments as if this thing just started last week.
As they always do, right? Yeah. Like Hamas just popped up out of
they threw the first punch. Like, come on, man. This has been going on for such a long time. And just like the US created Al Qaeda and ISIS, Israel's responsible for creating Hamas.
That is correct. Israel did create Hamas, and that's a very important note.
If you don't understand that part, then you're missing half the battle.
Yes, I totally agree. So let me know, like, what have you been? I mean, look, me and you have been involved in this exact debate for, over a decade at least, and almost going on to 2 decades, if not, it's actually, for me, it's over 2 decades now that I've been talking about this crisis, since it's some of my earliest childhood memories on political debates and discussions was on this exact topic. So let me ask you, have you seen more of a shift today compared to back then? And do you see that there is and we obviously hear the chatter of Conservative Inc. that are proving what authoritarians they are, but have you noticed that things are shifting into a more truthful place?
I have, and I've seen that. I mean, I think both of us have stepped a bit away from liberty and content and stuff like that, strictly on this stuff, to work on our businesses, right, for these last years. And we're working on our businesses, but we're so passionate about these principles, we still got to talk about it.
Sorry, before we continue, sorry for interrupting, but if you'd love to plug your business, that I would love to hear about. I'm sure many other people would love to hear about as well. Adam is one hell of an entrepreneur.
So I'm an online strength and healing coach. I help voluntarists build muscle in their best healed bodies. I got second place in Europe in all natural bodybuilding a few years ago, and have students all over the world that I'm able to help for a third of the price of in-person coaching, for 3 times the value, because I don't have to show up, and I can use technology and give you daily accountability and a custom nutrition plan, and it works great. So just hit me up on Facebook or Instagram if you're interested in learning more. I see one of my students, Sydney, right here on the chat. She had amazing progress. She's on my Instagram. In 1 year, the girl's completely transformed, brand new girl. So doing that for lots of people all over the world.
Nice. And if you're gaining any value from Adam's work, from my work, or from just being here right now on this information, check us out and like this video. It really helps us. Share this video with your friends and family as well. We are trying.
Got a great comment. We got a great comment here. We just talked about this from Andrew. I think there's something up. Why is there all this footage in Israel but not Ukraine? I just said that to you. Anytime that there's footage everywhere of something, it's because they want you to see it, right? Because there's no footage of the Ukraine and Russia, of them fighting or anything. Allegedly, there's all these deaths and everything. But with this Israel thing, they want you to be upset about it. They want you to see it because it's all packaged for you there, just like January 6th was. It's because anytime everyone in the world's talking about something, it's because they want you to see it.
Okay, so that's something. I've actually been on my Twitter replying to people who are talking about these. How could this have happened and everything? And I'm looking at like there's certain things, like people are like, how did they get through the intelligence services, right? How did that happen? And I'm going to get to that. And also the Ukraine thing I want to bring up. I have seen so much Ukraine footage since that war started that it's a little too much. So when I saw that, I was like, yo, the Ukraine wars videos, I'm literally, there's a bunch of YouTube channels that I follow that are active veterans on the ground there with their GoPro, like filming their whole thing all the time, constantly. So what I realize is that a lot of people, like, if you want to know about something on the internet today, you can find out about it. So,
Sure.
for example, I wanted to make sure the information I was finding out about Ukraine and Russia was correct. As a result, what I did was just go to the primary source. I'm going to go just follow soldiers and people literally on the ground,
Telegram channels or whatever.
Words. Telegram channels are another very big place. And then forming my ideas from that standpoint. So, if I ever go like, why aren't they talking about that? I'll go and search it and I'll be like, all right, look, there are a bunch of these viral videos over here. Maybe they're talking about it. I'm just not personally hearing about it, which, as we see, is like a massive logical fallacy that we see in these debates all the time, which is, because I didn't know it exists, then it doesn't exist. And then when I do know it exists, it's this wild thing that everybody has to pay attention to now.
What's up, Rick? How you doing, brother?
Hey, everybody say what's up. Let's see. We got
Kmart, Christian.
Place.
What's up, guys?
Yeah. Hey, how are you all doing? Leave your comments and let us know what you think about what's going on. And if you have any positive solutions that you can think of, then let us know, because we need some positive solutions out here. And let's see.
Absolutely.
Hey, we got everybody joining us. So, I was talking about the spying thing, right? Or the surveillance. People keep saying, how could Mossad and CIA allow something like this to happen? Again, so many people don't remember what happened last month, let alone what happened during the lockdowns, let alone what happened during the Edward Snowden leaks. I mean, I would say most of the people that recently woke up, do y'all even know who Edward Snowden is and what his leaks were about? They showed that mass surveillance does the opposite of its intended purposes. And now we're seeing that in Israel. Israel is the king of mass surveillance. They create mass surveillance technology. They sell it across the world. Here's some headlines from some articles that I posted. Is the NSA phone spying program exposed by Edward Snowden didn't stop a single terrorist attack. Federal judge finds. That's the headline. So not a single attack. They spy. Every single one of you on a phone right now in America was getting mass.
It's like the TSA. It's just stop zero, terrorist attacks.
So yes, a lot of this is just talk, and when you prove that your opponent is more talk than action, then it seems like that's what it's empowering the anti-Zionist fighters right now.
Perhaps, yeah.
So, what's up, y'all? If you're here right now, say what's up. Let us know what your solution is in the comments for the Israel and Palestine debate. Sorry, Adam, what were you saying?
No worries. I want to jump right into my solution, and my solution is actually returned to the principles. Return to having consistent principles that apply to every situation. And you just touched on it, the Republican, conservative, Christian types. I've been seeing a lot of that on my Instagram the last few days, just coming in on picking a side.
And it's like, what side are you on? And you're like, I don't want to take a side. And then, as they usually do, they'll just put you into a side because you say, I don't want to take a side.
I don't want to take a side. I'm on the side of principles. Like,
I'm on the side of freedom and love. So if your shit doesn't
liberty,
fit into that,
voluntary interactions, consent-based reality, those are the principles to come back to, and those principles need to apply to every situation.
Yeah, and as we see, when you lead with principles during very emotional times, you find who actually leads in principle in action and who leads in principle in just speech. And with Conservative Inc., we're seeing right now, for all of the newly woke people who think the Ben Shapiros of the world are your your savior,
The
it's like
freedom
a
fighter.
freedom fighter, nah, these guys are literally, they're the gatekeepers of the allowable opinion. And if you go too far and ask too many questions, then that allowable opinion doesn't exist. And it's just wild seeing how fast, when you don't lead from a principled lens and premise, that you throw away all of the rhetoric about principles and freedom and leaving people alone and non-aggression. So,
Yeah.
that's why I love this new term, Con Inc. Have you heard it?
No, I didn't. I'm just hearing that from you tonight for the first time, but it makes
I
sense.
recently just heard it as well. Somebody said it, and I was like, "What did you just say?" And, it's
Yeah,
conservative Inc.,
it makes
Con
sense.
Inc. That's what they are.
Exactly,
They're
Charlotte.
not what you think the American right is or historically was. If anything, most of them are just moderate progressives, moderate Democrats.
Yep. Yep. There's the status,
Yeah.
and so, yep. That's what's going on with that. So, yeah, we really need a return to people reading some Austrian economics books and some philosophy
So let me
and
ask you a question,
understanding.
Adam. So let me ask you. This is a
Yeah.
question that I ask myself regularly: is when you hold on to a religious doctrine, like a lot of people in that fight do, and you reject, for example, financial theory outside of your religion, which many of those people do,
Uh-huh.
then some of those people would say, I would assume, that I am already being principled. I follow my book of God, and it has all the principles that I would in there. Why would I need Austrian economics to have some principles that I believe I already have? What would you say to that?
It's a great
Because that's
question.
something I would, that's something that
Sure.
would be heard.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just imagining, a person responding to that type of challenge to get to your question, and them saying, "What do you mean I'm not awake?" Right? Because they think they've got a paradigm that works already, and so I think the best way to shift paradigms and to inspire expansion is just by example, and through showing it to them. Because if they already think they have a complete paradigm, then there's no generative force to go and learn more. So what I think you and I both try to do is live these principles in our lives as much as possible. Be that ruthless example of living principles and for freedom and liberty. And people can feel that power and gusto that we have, the energy that we have, and be interested in why we think the way we think. But yeah, what do you think?
This is to the point that you just made. I agree. Unfortunately, in practice, that seemed to result in viable solutions for others that aren't of our belief system. So I guess my thing is always just to figure out how we can take our beliefs of just, total freedom and integrate it into a
Yeah,
discussion that's systemically the opposite of freedom. So our solutions are great solutions. However, it seems like they're not the easiest to implement in a empire status structure, and that's arguably the problem the liberty movement has had for decades, is
sure.
that we can't tell the difference between what's a real empire game that's happening right there and what is but again, like this is why I'm torn, because I agree exactly with what you're saying. I've promoted exactly what you're saying for years prior, but as a result, I am not, when people get angry about our beliefs of, hey, let's just come together, it's hard to bring all sides together when there is one side specifically does not want to find equal ground at the table, and they want to be the dominant one at the table. And as a result, I've lost so many friends. Actually, I have another post that I'm about to post on Twitter today as well. It's in 2010. It's a post I made in 2010. And it's a video that's linked, how Israel's treat or Christians, or how Jews in Israel treat, something like that. And it's like the videos you're seeing today of like how these Jewish people are in Israel, like spitting on Christians and abusing them and assaulting them. And I was talking about that back in 2010, way back then. And the post, it said, look, so many people have, something like, so many people have unfriended me here. The truth. And I was young back then. I was like 22 in 2010.
Yeah.
So, life wasn't as real as it is, later in life. Right. And now I still look at it that way. I mean, I know that when we start talking more about this, as I continue posting on social media, I hope it doesn't happen, because I'm not the one not trying to be friends with them, but they go on the attack vector against you and then try to brand you as Hamas, essentially. Like, if you're not 100% on our side, using 100% of our propaganda and rhetoric, and if you deviate even 1%, you're an anti-Semite.
It's crazy.
And you support Hamas.
It's totally nuts. And it's the same for all these different discussions.
That's the thing. COVID, the lockdowns, what was it? Same thing, right? You're going to kill my family, and like same shit, same rhetoric.
The propaganda. And that's where I wanted to say what I was talking about earlier is let's get to pattern recognition. How are all these instances similar, right? There's a demonization of anything outside of this narrative. There's a division. There's an us versus them. There's a separation, right? So all this stuff is all very very similar.
If you're listening to this, please listen very closely to what Adam is saying right now.
It's super important for people to understand that and be able to start with some pattern recognition, because you can see the agenda right away. Like when I was against the lockdowns from day one.
Day one.
Shout
out to us. Shout out to you. Shout out to me. Day one.
And we got a question on Israel and Saudi Arabia trying to normalize relations.
We have a lot of comments coming in, so we'll take a minute right now and read some of these comments.
On Facebook.
Wow, there's a lot coming in right now. Okay, so let's read these from Instagram real quick first, because we got a comment that says from Yev, separate the religion from the states. We will talk about that in a few minutes. We got Andrew says, agreed, you can totally find it, look for it, but it's the stuff they put in our faces that's sketchy. Talking about like if you want to find it. Yeah, I mean, that's the point of independent media, so you don't have to be told what to watch, and you can go watch what you want yourself. Yeah. Let's see. The truth isn't hidden. People are hiding from the truth. Yes, indeed. We got Mr. Torres here. It says, I think Israel normalizing relations with Saudi Arabia will change things, thoughts, opinions. Do you want to talk about that normalization? Because that did not happen. At the same time that we're talking about Israeli normalization, the Saudis and Iranians are becoming friends on a level that I have not seen in my life.
Yes, there have been multiple peace movements.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is normalizing with Iran and Israel at the same time.
Or
they have chosen a side with what just happened a few days ago.
Yes, exactly.
So let's read some more of these. So if you want to learn about that, go learn. Over the last few months and few weeks especially, there has been a lot of talks between the Iranians and the Saudis, prior, there were a lot of talks between the Saudis and the Israelis. If y'all remember during Trump era, he was very big on that. But from my analysis, this is what it seems like. All right. You're Saudi Arabia right now, and you have two options to go. It's kind of like that meme, like which way Western man, but this one's like which way Saudi man, or which which way Arab man.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, all right, I'm about to like the king. This is the king, right? Like I could go two ways. I can go and be partners with a group of Muslims over there, or I can be partners with a group of Jewish people over there. What would be better for the kingdom of Saudi Arabia? And
friends with the Jewish people, because it's different.
Well, that's what they were doing before. It's clearly not like, well, think about this, like popular support is sorry.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
As far as popular support goes, if you're a king and because Saudi Arabia is hot on protests and the problems with their government, and the government crushes the protest movement keep coming back. So if you're the king and you have to think like, how can I not have a revolution in my country? What would be the better route to take? We're talking about Saudi Arabia right now, the place that that area was the place that Islam was founded, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like, from my analysis, that Saudi Arabia took a hard turn and has done something with Iran that has shifted the entire narrative of Middle Eastern dominance. Because before it was always a split where it was Israel, Saudi Arabia, Iran were arguably the three dominant players, and they were very separate over the last 50-ish years. And now Iran knew if the Saudis go with Israel, we're fucked, and Israel knows if the Saudis go with Iran. So it's just this empire game, right? Yeah. And back into the whole principle thing. It's so hard to put a principled lens onto just pure strategic empire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It's.
I'm not saying that we don't have a solution. I'm not saying that the principled mindset can't win, because it's just an ideological battle.
It's challenging to look at these individual personal freedom principles and apply them to the craziest of crazy hidden agenda statist empire games.
Exactly. So you want to other comments that you saw?
Yeah. So
Instagram, we're going to read some elsewhere.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, by the way, my friend Charlotte says that you are fire and really hot man. So
thank you, Charlotte.
If you missed that one.
I did. Thank you very much, Charlotte. If you could do me a huge favor and give me a follow and like this video, and check out speckerhealth.com, which is my company, and we'll take a little sponsorship break from the sponsors of this video, who are me.
Yeah, there we go.
That would be me taking my own product, some Specker Deep Recovery.
While you're taking a hit, I will do a shout out. Specker products are fantastic. I just got a new shipment from Amir when I moved back to America last year. It was great to have these products on the body again. Just the highest quality CBD stuffs you can get. Lotion, it's amazing, and drops. So definitely check out specker.com.
Thank you so much for that, bro. I appreciate that. And you actually, I was very happy when you came over to America, because I got to send you over the new product line that's the whole targeted drops now, that are the energy, recovery, and sleep. And now, you could just go on speckerhealth.com, go take the Specker Health Assessment that we just launched recently. And also you could check out the Specker Library at speckerhealth.com that has a bunch of scientific studies on ingredients, health, and lifestyle that are summarized by me. So what I do is I go and read thousands of scientific studies, and felt like it would be a really good option to summarize those really hard to understand scientific studies into normal speak, so that the average person who doesn't study science all the time can actually go in and understand what's being said in these scientific studies. And if you actually want to read the scientific study, you can just scroll down to the very bottom and click the link and read the whole study yourself. So let's get back to this. We got a lot of comments coming in. Let's see.
I got one here at the end, but Saudi and Iran and Israel are changing that opinion. Zero-sum theory is political theory for the 1950s and outdated. That's a good point. I think that many of the previous political arrangements are changing, and coming back to the financial aspect, all the valuations for financial markets are all very different now because there's been so much money printing, and there was interest rates kept to zero for so many years. So there's so many things that are very difficult to even put into the previous models and lenses that we had before. So I think that means that the results can be even more explosive and surprising, because no matter what they do, the state and central banks cannot stack blocks to the sky. They cannot blow a bubble into infinity. Block's still going to fall over, and the bubble's still going to pop. Right, Amir? So I think that's where we're in this bubble of finance, and just
which is, this is why I implore people to study history so much, right? Because when you study history, you actually get to see the cycles that have already happened. So there have already been cycles where world reserve currencies, and this has happened multiple times over the last 1,000 years, where world reserve currencies come and go. Yeah. The laws of economics are more powerful than your emotions. Ultimately, that is the law of supply and demand. It's all more important. Speaking of this in a historical lens, y'all realize how fast shit changes in the world. When you actually on the chart of modern history and you see how many shifts we've had in empires and how fast they happen and how fast lines on maps get redrawn, then you'll realize that the shift we're seeing right now is not unique. It's just a hallmark of empire history. And, I try to keep this distinct from human history, because this is just government history. So the people are acting in specific ways because of the system of the centralized state. I want to read some of these from Amir. Amir saying hello to Amir again. Hello, Amir. Shout out to Amirs of the world. Says some good comments. He said, that is something I would say as a devout Muslim, but Islamic law only applies to Islamic nations as Islamic rule. As a Muslim living in the West, we must follow the laws of the West. Every land has their own laws that must be followed. But in my personal life, I only need the rules of God to live. Let me break that down. But in my personal life, I only need the rules of a God to live. Well, that's what I live by. And that's why I implore people to remove the belief systems from their connection to God and these books and these names when you already have your direct connection to God. Yeah, and all of these externalized things are just disconnecting you from having a strong of a connection as possible. So, and that's interesting because and this is the problem with, calling yourself a certain religion or another, is that just like political philosophies, a belief system is going to be flawed because you're going to find somebody else with that belief system that believes completely the opposite. So let me continue this. I used to be much more anarchist, but I've developed my understanding over the years. I don't really feel it is feasible to have a society with no laws. There will always be someone who takes charge and attempts to implement some form of law. Yeah, Adam, this is the debate I was, bringing it up a little earlier. Like, hey man, is Rothbardian philosophy the way that we have solutions in empires? Or is that a way we have solutions in a new alternative system?
That's the way that we have solutions in a new alternative system, which has one thing, and one thing most important, that's different from this system: a higher level of a level of individual consciousness. on the average person.
Yes.
That's the number one thing standing between the statist world and the voluntarist world, is we have to have a higher level of consciousness. More people who are learned, who have read, who have studied philosophy, who understand these principles, who have looked at natural law and decide to live their life in according with that. Those are the things that are necessary for us to create a peaceful society. And it can be one without corruption. All corruption comes from the coercive state. All corruption comes from the coercive state, because without the coercive state, you have the free market, and the free market is immune to corruption.
So let me ask you this question, Adam. I'm just playing devil's advocate, because these are things that I've heard come to me for the last few years, especially. A Christian could say this to you is, well, there was no state during Adam and Eve, and there was still corruption in the Adam and Eve story, correct?
Well, there's still, Cain killed Abel, right? Or Abel killed Cain. I don't remember which one killed which.
So I guess, my thought is that, is there a system that we can create that can promote the least amount of corruption possible? And when we talk about anarcho-capitalist philosophy and people say, well, it's going to be just like this, it'll probably be a few levels better. Maybe a few levels better. That's what we're going for. We're not going for a utopia here. Yeah. We're literally just trying to find the next best step in human evolution for the highest levels of wealth, health, and happiness, and freedom, of course.
Yep, exactly.
So Amir says, Amir, not me, the other Amir in chat right now, I don't really feel it's feasible to have a society with no laws. And remember, the thing with anarchist philosophy, or at least anarcho-capitalist philosophy, is that
there's always
laws. We're still,
natural law.
And anarcho-capital, exactly, natural law. And this is another thing that
cause and effect.
Yeah, I've started thinking about this more as like, okay, well, if anarcho-capitalism is based off of natural law and the United States Constitution is based off of natural law, then I'd say we have a really good starting ground with the United States Constitution and the United States system to get to a more evolved place. Let's read a few of these. Got Sal over here. He says, opinions on Israel and Saudi Arabia trying to normalize relations.
Yeah, we went over that already.
Yeah. Well, how would that affect Israel-Palestine relations, Saudi normalizing relations with everyone? I would say that the less divide and conquer there is, the worse it is for a place like Israel. The Israeli state in its modern form exists in a way that relies on divide and conquer for its very survival. And I would argue that without the divide and conquer in play, actually, on Twitter Spaces last night, the audio thing, they were having a Twitter space, and it was incredible to hear. It was something I've never heard before in my life. There were thousands of people in the room. The speakers, some were literally in Gaza, some were in Israel, some are in Iran, some are in America, and they were all talking. And every time they would bring up a word that made it political, the moderator would come in and stop them and say, hey, you can't say that. Like if you're calling somebody a terrorist or using the word occupation, or, you're not allowed to use those words. And it was an amazing conversation. The dude's name is Mario Nawal or something on Twitter. He has one of the biggest Twitter spaces on Twitter right now. So let's read a few more of these comments. We got a lot of these coming in, man. Damn, let's go. Hello, Rachel. So Sal says, even the United States is normalizing relations with the Saudis to increase the production of oil and weaken Russian moves on all production. Communism.
What's up, Dominique?
Falling has outdated zero-sum political. Oh yeah, you read that zero-sum political theory. Yeah, what the thing is? It's like, hey, y'all, remember the petrodollar? You know how that's linked to pretty much Saudi Arabia? So when people talk about this, like, oh, Saudi Arabia is going against America, now they're becoming friends. Like, bro, literally the dollar is predicated off of that relationship, arguably. So, that's why they call it the petrodollar. So if you're here right now, leave your comments in the chat. We're reading comments right now for a little bit.
While some comments come in, I want to circle back something that we mentioned earlier that we didn't flesh out. You asked me, happy to see a shift in the last years
Ooh,
on
yes.
these
Sorry about
topics,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
we didn't come back to that.
yes. Thank you for bringing that all the way
So
back.
yeah, all the way back from the beginning. So I have seen, because you're not on Facebook so much anymore, right?
I mean, I'm trying to utilize free speech platforms as much as possible and
Yeah,
practice what I preach. So,
I'm
if I
still
can talk
fighting
about
the
those
old fight.
topics there, then, if I'm not practicing what I preach and my actions show the majority of my time is spent on those platforms that I know are absolutely blocking me, and then these other platforms. Actually, we can look at this too. We can see the statistics like on Rumble and YouTube, and we could see the
How
reach
many?
that we
Yeah,
get
it's more.
comparatively to these other platforms. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I
So yeah,
don't.
anyway,
Just to shorten that question, I don't often.
I'm still part of, to a much less extent than I ever used to be many years ago, because like we said, you and I are focusing on our business now, but I'm still part of that old school, bringing the principles to Facebook, people in moderating posts with Larkin Roses, and Mark Passer doesn't do it so much on Facebook, but just all these different types of people. You understand what I'm talking about, all right? That are there trying to share the principles. And just in the last few days, I've seen in response to comments when someone comes in with their Israeli flag and saying how this needs to be done and that needs to be done, and people are just taking them apart with just simple common sense juxtapositions. Well, hey, what about that? And hey, what about this? And does that make sense? And that, I don't think that was there as much.
Curiosity,
10
right? The
years ago.
curiosity to learn more.
Yeah, it's there's a lot more curiosity and people willing to look at both sides of things, and again, coming more back to these principles. So there's still a lot of us doing that, on Facebook, different spaces. That's definitely one of the ways I contribute still in my little bit of time that I spend on social media stuff for freedom and liberty. But I definitely think that's changed. So.
Awesome. Hey, I would love to utilize Facebook and Instagram more. It's just I'm clearly permabanned. We were talking about it earlier, right? It's like, how can I break out of this small following that the Twitter files, when the Twitter files were released, they showed how followings are throttled. And that's clearly, when the Twitter files were released and I started correlating all of that to what was happening to me on Facebook as well, I was like, no wonder. And now I go look back at my Facebook post from 10 years ago when I'm talking about these topics, like 2 likes, 3 likes. And then the other ones have a bunch of, so it's like, even back then they were already censoring us. We just didn't realize it was that bad, and we didn't really have any other options. Now that there are places like Rumble and X that we can talk, bro, like, that's why I implore everybody to get on X right now, because this conversation is free flowing. That Twitter Spaces, that's a Twitter space. It's not anywhere else where they're talking live. Literally, it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in this conflict. Was, one of my homies had just left Israel the day that happened, the day before that happened. So he was in the space literally talking about how he knows some of those people and how his friends are friends with those people, and it's like, damn, dude, it's a small fucking world, and we need to stop fucking fighting each other, because we're getting to a place in global connectivity where we all know each other. Like, I know Palestinians from Gaza, and I know Jews in Tel Aviv. And they all know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we all know them, and
I know Jews. I know Jews that despise the state of Israel. I know Jews that love Israel. I work with them. I got all kinds of friends. I'm friends with all different kinds of people.
Exactly.
We don't need to be separated by our beliefs.
Yeah, and this is, like I was saying earlier, it's like, unfortunately, in this debate, in this exact debate, there is one group, the Zionists, that want to have a special at the table when everybody else at the table is saying, hey, you're going to get treated like every single other person on planet Earth gets treated, okay? And the deal has to be like other deals. If one group, it's not diplomacy if one group is constantly coming out on top at the expense of everybody else. That's literally not diplomacy. Diplomacy is people coming together to find that common ground. So you're not being diplomatic, especially if you're making enemies out of everybody. This is a big issue I have is like, dude, I love Zionists. You know, like if you're a Zionist and like I got Zionist friends, I literally don't, you know, like I have strong beliefs on political issues. I do not let that get involved in my friendships. When I had a bunch of Democratic Party loyalists who were promoting that I get locked in my house and have to get injected with a toxin to go to a restaurant. Did I stop being friends with them? No, actually I didn't.
Yeah.
A lot of them stopped being friends with me.
Yes.
But I guess the thing is when you're truly confident in who you are and have gone deep enough internally, guys, they're just words and it's external. You know, focus on your connection with God. That's really where you'll get the best answers.
Love it, bro. Love it, man.
So actually, I wanted to bring up, circling back with the theme of we're circling back now. I want to bring up my pragmatic, peaceful government solution to the Palestine problem.
Let's hear it.
All right. Remember, and this is a post that I'm going to make on Instagram, so I'm just going to be reading the post that I'm about to post.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's with the picture of me taking a screenshot of my post in 2010 and saying like, hey, look, I've lost so many Zionist friends. And, you know, hopefully that shows any Zionist watching it like, hey, bro, I'm really trying to just find common ground. I'm not going to give you special treatment, just like I don't give those Palestinians special treatment. All right. So, you know, that's the thing. If you want preferential treatment, you're not going to like, that's what's happening right now. I think the shift that we're seeing is that the preferential treatment given to Zionism is now fading away.
Right. I think that makes sense. Yes. That's what I'm observing as well. People who are coming in to comment these last days in the same way they've commented about other things that have happened, they're not being met with the same level of support that they were before. There's all kinds of people that are like, dude, time out. We got to look at this stuff through an objective lens. Let's Get Dinner says, I'm a Zionist.
Hey, we got the best comment. Did you see that? Hey,
I'm a Zionist and I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, shout out to you, Jono. Jono says, I'm a Zionist and I appreciate you, brother. I've been homies with Jono for years. He sees the shit I post. I see the shit he posts. Cool, man. If I see you, we'll party together just like the last time.
No problem.
What the fuck? You know, it's just like, bro, stop being so fucking emotional. It's just like, it's not, you know, especially coming from men. Hey, bro, it's not manly, dude. Get your fucking shit together and
get your shit together, man. We're men. We're men. We go and fight in a fucking ring, okay, and actually try to hurt each other and shake hands afterwards. What's wrong with you that some freaking words are making it so you can't be friends with your fucking family anymore? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like, dude, you're doing yourself more. This is how I look at it. If I go and fight somebody who I consider a friend on some political topic that both me and that other person can't really directly affect at that moment, then is it really building value in our lives or is it removing value in our lives?
Right.
It's arguably removing value in our lives because, you know, we have more value in our lives with more friends. Let's see. We met through my Muslim friend from Dubai who was in my Jewish frat. What? Wait, can you say that person's name? Because I was like, wait, he was in your frat? Oh my God, that's I mean, but look, in the Jewish frat, I mean, hey, when I was in college, hey, AE Pi, bro, right? Were you in AE Pi? That Jewish frat? Like, hey, bro, I used to go to their parties too. They were my homies too. Like,
dude, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I've always been a part of every different group. I mean, grew up being basically the only chocolate person there, you know, most of my life, just the different places where I lived. And, you know, I'm a part of this group and that group. I'm just invited everywhere. I'm welcome everywhere. You can drop me in Poland. You can drop me in Russia. You can drop me in Japan. I've been to Japan.
Hey, you could drop us in Israel too.
It doesn't matter. I'll still make friends. It doesn't matter. And we need more coming together. We need more consciousness elevation. We need more principles, and we need less coercion and less statism and less authoritarianism. That needs to be the direction.
I totally agree. And we got Let's Get Dinner over here. Says, I did not, Muslim friend from. That's so fun. Yeah, I'm remembering all the connections. My homies, family into you guys, and that's how we all connected into that epic time. So that's crazy, though. I mean, Pi, it's a Jewish frat, right? And I'm assuming, right? Yeah, let me check real quick. Yeah, Pi. Yeah. He says in Pi. Yeah. So that's, I think that's the most prominent Jewish fraternity in America. So that's the thing. They let a Muslim guy be part of their fraternity, and in Israel and Palestine, Muslims and Jews and Christians, they hang out all the time. It's literally to the point that you're making, Adam. It's just this divide and conquer bullshit. Yeah. Politicians get in the game. You're all following politicians instead of following yourself and your connection to God. As a result, you're swayed by emotions, and that's exactly how politicians divide and conquer.
Exactly. That's it. It's real simple to understand, but it takes evolving consciousness and learning about pattern recognition, and just studying history as well. I mean, that definitely, like, it took me. Because you remember that I was physically inside the building 90 minutes before it was destroyed, 9/11, right?
Yeah, Adam was, if y'all don't know, for my followers, Adam was there on 9/11.
Yeah, so
I just saw that video you posted where you were walking around.
Yeah, from 2016.
Yeah, explain that.
So I'm despite my youthful appearance and lack of wrinkles around my eyes, I'm a lot older than Amir. Amir, you're 33 now?
35.
35. All right, so
I thought I was 30. Good.
I'm 40. I'm 45. So I'm 10 years older than Amir. I'll be 46 in December.
Yeah, we're a good generation gap.
Half generation. Generation's 25 years. Half generation 12 and a half. So we're half generation. So
I'm like, yeah, the 10. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, all good. So we watch different cartoons. So
yeah, exactly.
Half generation. So I was 23, September 11th, 2001, and I was working at Merrill Lynch. I was a derivatives trader. I was an analyst then. And so I used to get dropped off, finish my subway run from Midtown to Fulton Street, and I would walk underneath the World Trade Center or through the courtyard every day to get to the World Financial Center across the street. So I was literally 200 meters away, just across the street from everything that had happened. And I saw the first tower on fire, running away, all the stuff. But it took me 7, 8, 9 years to learn that was a false flag. I was out there cheering for the military to go get them Muslims, because I was a statist. Because that's what they were telling us, right? Who did it and everything. So if you don't know, then you're going to be swayed by all this propaganda, right? It's like I was, I was like, yeah, go get them Muslims, And then I realized 8, 9 years later, this was a false flag. This was by the Saudis, Israelis, and the neocons. They did it on purpose because of this equation that I've spoken about on stage many times. Here's what happened. 20 years of war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Here's the equation. Remember algebra, right? It needs to balance, right? It's equal in the middle. This shit doesn't balance. Millions of people killed or maimed at a cost of trillions of dollars stolen from the unborn equals so that thousands of well-connected...
The unborn of multiple countries as well.
Unborn of multiple countries equals so that thousands of well-connected war profiteers, usurpers, military-industrial complex mercenaries, alphabet agency race, politicians, and thieves can quote-unquote earn billions of dollars for themselves and their friends. Okay? That's why they did it. So when you understand that they did that, and you understand the other thing, and you understand the other thing, and you saw COVID on day one, then when you see all media light up with this story of this attack 2 days ago, you're like, They want us to see this. What else is going on here?
Yep.
There's something else going on here.
Yep. That's exact, and it follows the same script. And once you become the observer, then you get to really look from the inside out and put all the pieces of that puzzle together.
Observer
and then when that
viewpoint.
puzzle comes together, you're like, oh shit, what happened with COVID, what happened with the vaccines is actually completely interlinked with what's happening in Israel right now.
Exactly. And what happened in Ukraine over the last year.
Yeah,
It's
Ukraine.
It's all the same stuff.
I've been oh shit, we got a battery exhausted on me. Give me 1 second. But
take care of that. Dude, you got the old.
We'll get Adam.
You got the old school. You got the old school bars there, bro.
I'm using my Sony camera, my Sony mirrorless camera.
Got
it. And
okay, plug it back in.
There we go.
Now's a good time. I was getting that. So let's talk about online fitness again. 1/3 of the price of training with a coach in person. We can train online. We get 3 times the value. We get daily accountability on top of you every day, making sure that you hit your nutrition goals and you do your workouts. Number 2, custom nutrition plan. I teach you how to eat for the numbers, how to eat the same amount of calories and the same macronutrient ratios every day. Maybe not as low carbs as Amir would put you on, but definitely lower carbs than the average person. All right. And then, of course, your custom workouts that are built just for you and the equipment that you have access to. It's a 4-month program. You get to have me in your pocket 16 hours a day when I'm awake to be able to ask questions and troubleshoot and ask me to do research for you. And it's my life mission, my purpose. I spent 17 years on Wall Street and then switched to dedicating my life to fitness 7 years ago. And so that's what I'm enjoying doing. So that's what I do.
Let's go. And that's what me and Adam connect on a lot. And actually, I mean, like, generally speaking, our dietary blueprints follow like
very similar
philosophies.
Yeah. Within 10% on macros or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, also, it's important to note that while I generally follow a very low to no carb carnivore blueprint, I try very hard to be metabolically flexible, and I carb cycle to continue to build that metabolic flexibility, because it's important to know, as you know, like if you go too deep into keto and then say, you go and eat a pizza with your friends and a beer, you're going to get fucked up. And that means
sick, right?
You're not metabolically flexible anymore.
Yeah.
So, the goal should not be to go into one extreme or another, like just 100% fat feeding, 100% carb feeding.
Yeah.
It's to find balance.
Yeah.
And, in this
what's
modern world, sustainable balance. Exactly. So if you know that you're going to go out and have a drink and, have some carbs with your friends that are processed in seed oils, then being in deep ketosis all the time might not be the best option, because your body is not going to recognize. And you hear that with vegans a lot too. They'll be like, oh yeah, I had some meat and it just, didn't sit well with you. Oh, you mean you didn't have metabolic enzymes for years and then you just like brought something into your body and don't have the metabolic enzymes to break them down because you didn't train your body to have them, so they went away and now it made you feel not good? It's the same thing.
Big shock.
Super deep keto and then you go eat a bunch of carbs. It's literally the same shit. Like, biologically speaking, they're just metabolic enzymes that you need to break things down. So, I don't handle raw dairy well. Dude, you don't have metabolic enzymes to break that down because you didn't grow up. So drink it more and then see if you gain the metabolic flexibility to do that. Anyway, we're about to shift into a health topic, which
I'd love to do. So let me read you a couple of these comments from Facebook, from my Facebook, because you don't see them, right?
I have them. They're popping up in our chat right here as well. So they're nice and long too. So if y'all have long thoughts, please.
Trisha, are you still here? Just say hello in the chat if you're still here.
Yeah, that's a nice comment from her.
So Trisha says, primarily carnivore here, who also carb cycles with intermittent fasting. It's what works best for me. I think she's responding to my little rant there the other day. I'll tell you why so many men act like this today. The weaponization of the feminist movement is essentially castrating the thing that women love and the world needs the most: strong men who act like it and take leadership like it. That's what we talked about, not being so sensitive.
This is, let the women go be sensitive. We're men here. We gotta build these civilizations. All right. So
Mhm.
if you're a Zionist
Mhm.
man, chill the fuck out, bro.
Chill
Chill the
out.
fuck out, dude.
Chill
We're
out.
not like nobody's trying to fucking like because this is another thing too in with Zionist propaganda. I know this because I've had so many
Mhm.
Zionist friends over the years. I know how they program you, and the programming is based off of everybody hates you. You're gonna die. You
Yeah.
have to be super. And it's like, dude,
What's up, Penny?
like that's just not good. That's
Mhm.
just not the reality of the.
No.
It's
No.
like it's not that bad, dude. Like, look, my
Yeah.
whole family, Muslims, right? 9/11 happened. Like,
Massive
wow,
victim consciousness
like,
there.
that's the thing is like, look, while after 9/11, there was one side of America that was like, yeah, go fucking kill those Muslims. There was another side of America that was like, fuck, bro, these Americans are gonna fucking kill us now. And they
Yeah.
were like Americans were going around and
Yeah.
these dudes with turbans on their head because they
Yeah.
thought they were Muslim after 9/11,
Yeah.
So, but that all being said, is Islam today a well accepted religion and people in America today? Yes. Do they assimilate into American culture
Sure.
and become just as American as me and you? They sure do.
Absolutely.
So the fear doesn't have to be there. And if you study history, especially like Jewish history, I studied Jewish history a lot. I was a religious studies major for some time in college.
Mhm.
And
I bet Carrie showed you some stuff too.
I showed her some. Yeah, the other way around. On that topic, the other way around. Yeah, we'll save that one for off camera.
Another chat.
But yeah, like, wait, actually, hold on. I actually wanted to circle back real quick. No, let me finish this. Judy, look, if you're Jewish and you're watching this right now, please recognize that Jews are a very strong people who have persisted for thousands of years. And also recognize that there is a long history of Jewish people working and living in places like Iran. And if you want to go learn about, if you're scared, you're a Zionist and you're scared right now, and you think that like your people are going to get genocided from the world, go read the Book of Esther. The Book of Esther is from your religion. Go read it. Go read the story. And go see how the Jewish people persisted. And a lot of Jewish people I talk to, they know this story. So that was thousands of years ago, y'all. If you want to come up with positive solutions, then you have to be diplomatic. The other option is you don't have diplomacy. And then this is just what history shows. Purely history. Another group comes in and they just disappear you. Right. So I'm like, you don't have to be worried. You don't have, people accept you. But you got to realize that there comes a certain point where if you do not accept diplomacy, one group out of a lot of other groups will come in and say, you're not going to be here anymore.
Right. And when you say diplomacy, I want to label that as everyone getting treated the same. As we talked about earlier, right? Not that there's different rules for you.
Yes.
And my follow-up to just to speak to the same group that Amir was speaking. So if you're Jewish and you're watching this, you're Zionist, whatever, love Israel, then and it's something that we said upset you, remember that I personally worked with many Jewish people. I've worked in 2 different companies in my life selling skincare from Israel. It's secret. I worked for a guy named
Isaac. You were on that Israeli skincare hype?
I was on that Israeli skincare. It used to be in the mall, but then it became network marketing. And it was a business I worked on for a few years at the end of my Wall Street career when that was falling apart. And I've got friends of all different persuasions. And what's important is to think about diplomacy and principles and think more about what are the consistent, honorable principles that can lead to a healthy and fair reality for everyone.
Insert your goddamn right meme here.
I'm on 5-minute warning, sir.
Oh, Adam got to go in 5 minutes. So I'll still be here if you're all here. So I guess this is a perfect time because I was just about to circle back and finish reading my pragmatic, peaceful government policy solution to the Israel-Palestine problem. All right. And unfortunately, I don't really hear too many people talking about this until we saw one of the first comments today was a unified state. So my pragmatic solution that can be done efficiently and in the near future and has historical reference to show that it can work. A one-state solution. Abolish the Jewish supremacist settler colonial state of Israel, and you got to accept the truth the same way a lot of white Americans did with American Indians. Okay? There just has to be a truth that has to be a premise that has to be accepted, right? And there's a premise that, hey, yeah, you guys were here before we were here. We and our grandparents and our great-grandparents were somewhere else. So that's part of diplomacy. Like, all right, man, I'll accept that you did this wrong. You got to accept that you did this wrong. It's called reconciliation, and it happens all the time in history. Reconciliation after a war. Okay, so it's abolish the state of Israel in its current form has to happen, and replace all the land currently recognized as Israel and Palestine with a singular, secular, unified Palestinian state. Probably to collectively come up with a new name between all groups involved. Don't call it Israel. Don't call it Palestine. Collectively, if you people say you're all from that land, you can collectively come up with a name that is
everyone can use.
And everybody, moving forward, right? The state would adopt, this is the important part about the governmental structure and why it's important. This state would adopt the U.S.-style representative constitutional republic system focused on safeguarding the God-given natural rights of every individual equally under the law, regardless of their religion. Today, there's a two-tiered segregationist, settler, colonialist class system, one for Jews and one for everyone else. It's important to note that this peaceful solution is predicated off the United States government drastically shifting policies, as the entire crisis today arguably only exists because of the highly unpopular continued U.S. funding and support for Israel, while also casually funding the Palestinians too. Divide and conquer, right? This presents the biggest roadblock we face to resolving this crisis, as many politicians have proven their allegiance to Israeli dominance first, America second, which we all see on full display right now. If a melting pot like the United States can successfully bring all these different groups together and reconcile our differences, including being completely loving and peaceful with our previously sworn mortal enemies of the American Indians, then so can all the people of Israel and Palestine. God bless you all.
I love it, man. It's great. It's powerful. It's powerful. It makes sense to me. I love it. You're gonna post that on Instagram?
I'm gonna put. Yeah, I've been wrote a few posts yesterday and getting ready for the Zionist onslaught that is
because that first part is like destruction of Israel, like freak out, but it's like
hey, wait, what about Hamas? And you're
dude, listen to the whole thing. Listen to the whole thing. All right, hold on. Give me a big smile, bro. There we go. Smile. There we go.
Let's go.
All right, great. So yeah, man, definitely do that post, and I will. I'll post it on my Facebook as well. I love those words. I have nothing to add.
Yes, sir. So Adam is going to bounce out right now. Thank you so much for joining us,
brother,
Adam Williams.
We're gonna do this again. This was great. What did you guys think? Did you guys like some Adam and Amir action or what? There's a few less people here than there were before.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Let us know if you're watching this right now.
Was this Murtaugh and Riggs? Was this what? Who did you guys like this? What do you think? You know who Motown Riggs are, right?
Could you?
It's from Lethal Weapon, man.
Bro, you see, that's a generation gap above me, bro. You see what you just did? You just proved the generation gap. I was like, hey, bro, you Gen Xers grew up, I'm a millennial, dude. You Gen Xers grew up with Lethal Weapon.
Different movie.
We didn't even I didn't even watch that shit until I was like older. And I was like, oh, I guess all these people are saying watch Lethal Weapon. Right?
Dude, I loved it. It's great, man. I thought it was awesome. So I appreciate you, and you're gonna continue for a little bit.
I am going to continue on here for a little bit. And if you're on both of our chats right now, give Adam a follow, give me a follow. If you're listening right now, leave your comments down below and let us know what you think about this, because we're going to be talking about this a lot more moving forward. I'm on stream multiple times a week now on a bunch of different platforms. So please follow me as well.
This and more topics.
Official across all platforms. So Adam, plug your business one more time and where everybody can find you.
Last time, guys. So
we'll see you very soon. Thanks
for the opportunity. Amir, you're a gentleman and a scholar. It's always great to spend time with you. So on Facebook, Adam space N period space Williams. On Instagram, all one word, Adam N Williams. I'm an online strength and healing coach. I help my students build muscle in their best healed bodies. It's 100% online training, which is a third of the cost of in-person training for 3 times the value. So we use an app. You've got custom workouts, daily accountability, and nutrition help. I teach you how to eat for the numbers, and it all works great. And I'm exploding that business this year, and would love to chat with you. There's a link on my Instagram and my bio to fill out an application. You can just bang it out there, or just contact me on Facebook, and we'll be happy to speak with you about your fitness goals and making them into a reality.
Let's fucking go.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Thanks again for joining us. Love you, bro.
Love you too. Bye.
Peace. Hey, let's get back on the show. Go through some comments now. We just finished with Adam Williams talking about Israel and Palestine. And I'm going to read through these comments, and then I am going to get my workout in for the day. Because especially in moments like this, when you are debating on such hot, emotionally charged topics, it's more important in these moments, more than ever now, to make sure you're eating healthy, make sure you're exercising, make sure you're getting off of social media, putting your devices away. I know it's really tempting to just stay on and keep refreshing and see the next post and the next video, but you have to have the discipline to unplug and find balance, because this is an extreme side, right? This is war. Like, we're literally watching videos of people getting slaughtered all day. So go cultivate your connection with God during these moments, and don't let the chatter pull you away from your journey to evolve your soul. So let's go through some of these comments right now. If you are here right now in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. And let's see real quick. We got... Hey, if you're all in here right now, say what's up. I'm going to be going through all of these comments now. We got a bunch. Let me read through some of these. We got... let's see, we got... Amir says, U.S. foreign policy in a nutshell, divide and conquer. Yes, indeed. Trisha says, I pulled away here. I'll just pull these up. Let me see if this... yeah, there we go. All right, we're pulling these up right now onto the chat so you can read them below if you're watching as well. Trisha says, I pulled away from all current events. I know bad things are happening out there at any given point. It's not that I don't care. It's just not where I'm trying to focus my energy. I did quickly see that there was a terror attack. The sensationalism of violence via media is not something I play into anymore. Look at the way it casts spells on the general public. Ooh, nice comment, Trisha. No matter the political affiliation. And that's really what this is. It's a lot of spell casting. And that's why I implore people, get that connection with God as deep and strong as you can, because it's very hard to break spells once they take you over. So I don't want that touching anywhere near me. It exploits humans and it exploits our. Don't know why it's not read. Oh, that's a long comment. Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving to the next comment. Got James over here says Amir Obey. There is no USA. US is a vassal state of Greater Israel. That is an argument to be made, and one that, yeah, I've heard some good arguments on that one. Let's see. Oh, this is a nice one. We got Amir again over here, the other Amir joining us. I agree with that to a certain extent. Thankfully, more and more Americans are waking up and don't want billions of their annual tax dollars going to apartheid. Let's see. And then we see James over here. I agree with the rest of what you wrote. To the other guy, Amir. Divide and conquer, deals with Saudis, terraform and destroy millions of lives in the Middle East. Wow, terraform. That's a good word to use in this scenario. In the Middle East and elsewhere, people happen to freely trade and interchange. All that has corrupted souls of Americans, and all chickens have come home to roost, in my opinion. Thank you for sharing your opinions. If you're all in the chat right now, let me read through some more of these chats. We got a comment here that says, I'm not worried that the Jews will be genocided. They are far too competent, but I'm still worried for any loss of innocent life. That's where diplomacy comes in, okay? If you want to be just staunch and strict in your beliefs, then it's not going to result in a better, less violent outcome. It's just going to result in more violent outcomes. That's why diplomacy happens, to minimize violent outcomes. So the main problem with Zionism today and the Israeli state is that they want to lead the conversation without anybody else having an input. And if anybody else has an input, you get your life ruined. You're an anti-Semite. They write articles about you, all these, write on you, call you anti-Semite, blah, 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 blah. Literally have done that to me. So let's read some of these comments. And yeah, that's I feel the same way. Like I've been saying it earlier, y'all Jews have been around for thousands of years, bro. Like what the fuck? You'll figure out a way, dude. And if this is the thing too, is that Jewish people, I believe, if anybody's watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the Jewish population generally has a higher IQ than other groups. So it's like, all right, dude, there are a few options you could use here. You could use your brain, or you could use violence. When you're using violence, you're not really, thinking logically. It's very, yeah. So, to minimize the loss of life, hey, bro, it's called making concessions. It's called diplomacy. It's called statecraft, dude. Like, you got to play the game. This whole, like, I'm going to dominate at all costs, and I refuse to talk to anybody who even says one thing different than me. It's just not a long-term strategy for longevity, okay? Y'all got to play long-term strategies for the longevity of your people. And creating more and more enemies out of a bunch of people like me and Adam that are literally saying, we're like, hey man, we love you guys. Like, we'll be friends with you all. We'll hang out with you all. It doesn't matter, And then if you go and make us your enemy, then who's really going to win in the end? You're just saying we're not going to be friends with you. So then we're over there like, okay, well, who else is going to be friends with us? It's the same as how so many people on the left have shifted over to the right the last few years, because the American left does the same thing. They're like, if you don't agree with one what we're saying, and if you're on Twitter and seeing the ban the ADL hashtag, the ADL, which is one of America's hallmark Zionist groups, it leads the charge in a lot of this speech regulation that we're seeing in the world. We got what are your thoughts on RFK? I'm going to tell you my thoughts on RFK, and I will just read you what I replied to on somebody's comment about RFK and how RFK just, proved that he's such a warmonger. And he's not impartial at all. But my comment, let's see, it was because somebody who supported RFK, who's on the right, saw his warmonger stance towards what's happening, and he, just like went full on neocon on his Twitter. So this is from Kim Iverson. She says, "And there goes my Kennedy vote out the window." And my comment back is, RFK is the Bernie Sanders of the 2024 election. Y'all, the same people who were getting fooled and duped by Bernie Sanders, RFK is playing the same playbook on y'all. Like people who just don't know anything about political strategy and aren't really in the game. And they're like, oh my God, but he has a real chance to win. Just like about Bernie. Literally, people were saying the same thing about Bernie Sanders in 2016. Like, no, he really has a chance to win. Do you understand what the Democratic Party political structure looks like? It is completely centralized from the top down. There is little to no resistance. Whatever resistance and rebellion happens, the Democratic Party gets crushed very fast in comparison to the Republican Party. So, I know that RFK is going the independent route now, but guys, Democratic Party loyalist. I mean, he proved it. And ultimately, if your first reaction is to go on the war path, full scale path, then you're not thinking of America first. So a lot of my thinking today is what benefits America first? What benefits locally? That's really what it is. Like, I live in America. I was born and raised in America. So locally speaking, I should make my local community first. And that just so happens to be America. So when you hear America first, they're like, oh, those are Nazis about, or maybe it's just people who actually want to make their community the priority over literally some other foreign country thousands of miles away. My family's from Iran. And a lot of them live here now, but a lot of them still over there. Do I make Iranian politics this like emotional, like, no, I'm America first. I don't live there. I wasn't born there. So what I see with a lot of Zionists is that when issues like this happen, they forget what should come first in priority as far as government policy, US government policy goes. Should we be taking care of our actual neighbors first, or should we be taking care of some people thousands of miles away from us who mostly fucking hate us on all of the sides? So that's my thoughts on RFK. So if you remember what I was saying about Bernie Sanders in 2016, it's the same shit. It's like, uh, you know, listen to what I was saying earlier about principles. If you lead with principles, you could read the minds of RFK so easily. And he got a lot of popularity from the right because of his anti-vaccine stance, which is fucking hilarious because I didn't learn about vaccines from the Republicans and conservatives and right-wing America. I learned about vaccines and the truth about vaccines from Democrats because being anti-vax was a very Democrat position until fucking COVID. Even if you go and look at what Democrats were saying, I won't get Trump's vaccine. That's literally what they were saying. I'm not going to get that vaccine. There isn't enough testing, blah, blah. And then boom, they just switch right on over. So let's go through some of these, some more of these comments. We got a Sheikh says, I'm questioning the IQ of Iranians protesting Islamic Republic and supporting the oppressive Israel. Sheikh, the thing that you have to recognize is that the majority of people do not lead from a principled lens. This is the entire thing that we were trying to hit home in the beginning of this stream, is that if you lead from a principled lens, you won't be swayed by this group and what that group's saying now. And now you're a Democrat and you're anti-vax, but now because some other politician is saying it, you're pro-vax. And then or you're a Republican, so now you're supposedly against the Ukraine war, but when it's something that personally affects your emotions on a different level, like Israel, now you're totally for it, because that's not principles. It's being logically inconsistent and morally inconsistent. So that's the beautiful thing about the Ron Paul revolution, is that we came into these ideas from the premise of being principled, and you can still believe in your religion but still adhere to the philosophy of freedom. So so to get mad at people who are supporting one side or another, again, you just have to ask yourself where you want to be in the conversation. Do you want to be right in the middle of the riot of people fighting, or do you want to, stand on the outside kind of looking in so you can have a more rational view about how to stop all the people in front of you hitting each other, instead of you being one of the people that's involved in hitting each other, if that makes sense? So let's see. It says they just associate Islam and Arabs with Islamic Republic. Well, could you expand on that, Sheikh? Your comment right there, so I can answer it better. Let's see. We got a question that says, "Can you also share your thoughts on Vivek?" My thoughts are this: if you clearly are shilling for another foreign country over America, then I'm not going to vote for you. Like, Vivek looks like a dude I could be friends with. Looks like a dude I could have good conversations with. Not a dude that I would vote for president. He's a hardcore Zionist shill as well. And the way I look at it, like I was bringing up Iran, if I was sitting there all day talking about how we need to do this with Iran and protect Iran and this with Iran and that with Iran, like, hey, bro, Iran's not where your neighborhood is right now. Okay. America is where your neighborhood is. And we need to focus on fixing America before we go to some other foreign country. And as much as you might feel as an American this tie to Israel, like, bro, you got to pick a side, like you got to pick who comes first. And you can't play. That's what I say. Actions speak louder than words. So just look at their policy positions, look at how they respond, look at the rhetoric they're using, and you'll be able to generally tell what side they're on. If they're on the side of picking a side, or if they're on a side of trying to find a solution that is diplomatic and fair for all sides involved. Two roads here. The hallmark of the United States is that we pride ourselves on being a diplomatic country. So I'm not saying this thinking that, like, oh, Americans, we can't accomplish this at all. So if you're watching this right now, leave your comments right now. Let me know what you think. And let me know if you have any solutions. And if you have any updates or news about what's going on as well, let me know. Just reading through these comments right now. Oh, I like this. Trisha, shout out to Trisha. This is a great comment here. I'll tell you why so many men act like this today. We weaponize the weaponization of the feminist movement, essentially castrating the thing that women love and the world needs the most. Strong men who act like it and take leadership like it. And that's why I implore men to stop buying into this emotional bullshit. I went down that road for many years of, you gotta learn how to communicate like a female. Like, essentially what they're saying is, like, you need to act more like a female. And a lot of us, when there isn't opposing views, shout out to, the red pill world right now, because, the younger boys today growing up have access to stuff that I didn't have at that age growing up. And what that consists of is strong men telling you, hey, this is bullshit. All right. This isn't going to make you more of a man. It's actually going to make you more of a woman. And as a result, it's going to, well, Trisha said it already. All right. Let's see. This is a great comment here. Muslims lived peacefully with Jews for a long time before apartheid Israel was formed. And actually, take that back even farther and see that even before the Arab Islamic conquest of that area, it was a little different. So they've been living together back then as well. Shocker, right? Like even before Islam was a religion, those people in that area of the world were still finding ways to live together and find peace. All right. Another comment is here's the Jewish Voice for Peace is a great organization of Jews who oppose apartheid. Yeah, they yeah. I have fucked with their content. Yeah. Um and then one state solution that provides freedom to all is the only way. Yep, that's what I said. And Amir, thank you. He says, well said, Amir. And I think he was talking about my solution, my pragmatic policy position solution. Because you guys, I was in politics for years of my life, and I understand what government policy actually is. The majority of the people that are talking about this don't recognize real pragmatic solutions. Like what can actually be done today by law with governments that can actually create a sustainable future. So, a lot of ideas are just, it's not realistic. So, is this the best option possible? I don't know. Like, can I hypothetically in a dream world think of something that's better? Absolutely. But that's not the reality of this external world today. So as a result, if you want to evolve, you got to go with the flow to evolve. If you're going against the flow, it's much harder to evolve. And I always tell the and libertarians this, like, bro, if you're constantly going against the flow, you're not going to accomplish as much as if you're just trying to go with the flow. It's a great comment here too. Hey, thank you all for your comments here. I'm just going through all these right now. So please leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts. Trisha here says, and we are here in the US peaceful. We are one of the least racist and hateful societies today. I totally agree, even though so many people think otherwise. As people, I wish that on the leftist ilk that are from here saw that. This is the thing is that American history has been very split between city people and rural people, and it's very hard for them to interact and recognize that America is really not as bad as you think your perceived enemy is. The rural people think it's the city people. The city people think it's the rural people. This has been a battle in America since the founding fathers could not agree on the United States Constitution. The battle that took so long to get the United States Constitution. Let's see. Heidi says, oh, that's a great comment, Heidi. Real peace requires seeing the other as human beings, listening to the other's concerns, and actually implementing agreed upon solutions. That's an important one. And actually implementing agreed upon solutions, which, as we see in the Israel-Palestine conflict, so many of these resolutions have not been followed at all. So many. That's so funny. That's your next comp. Sorry. So many UN resolutions passed but never implemented. If the resolutions would simply be implemented, it would prevent so many wars. Sooner or later, oppressed, colonized peoples will rise up. This is just history. This is world history, y'all. What goes around comes around. The universe finds balance. You are not as strong as the power of the oneness of God's universe. As much as you try to resist it, it'll only come around even harder. So if you're watching this right now, leave your comments. I'm reading through all these comments right now, and we're going to be here for a little longer. Oh, that's a good one. Trisha says, my friend works very closely with RFK. She knows him on a very intimate level. He is about choice. You know what the thing is that like I said about Vivek, is that RFK is somebody that I actually believe that I could be homies with. You know, he seems to share certain lifestyle practices that I do. He seems to live a healthier lifestyle compared to other politicians. So, that being said, it's when I talk about these issues, I'm really focusing on common ground. And these candidates that we're seeing have beliefs that fall into a common ground place. However, what I'm imploring you to do is to read between the lines. Is that if you say you're for choice, does that is that a principle belief or is that a preferential belief to where you will do it 99% of the time, but you know that one time over there that really personally affects you, you decide to change your mindset. Like I brought up with one situation, that's where my family came from. I got family that lives there, okay? So do my principles change because of that? Nope. Do I want them to change because of that? Well, you know, when the Iranian government's being the Iranian government, I do get emotional. It's painful to see those videos. You know what I do? I do what I said I did. I do when I'm earlier. I go balance out with my health practices and then try to be as impartial as possible before getting in the ring to give my views on the topic. As we saw with RFK and the tweets that he wrote about Israel and Palestine the last few days. I, yeah, but hey, if you got RFK's ear, then he needs to just have these conversations. A lot of the times, people are shilling for Israel as hard as they are because they don't hear the opposing side. And now what we're seeing on social media, arguably for the first time ever, is Zionists and anti-Zionists and objective, just impartial people being able to come to the same platform, which is X, shout out Twitter X, and be able to learn more, discuss with each other on like a level that I've never seen before. Because when I used to have these debates in 2007, 2008, I mean, they were coming after us. The social media censors were coming after us back then before y'all even knew what many people knew what social media censorship even was. Let's see. Jerobe asks, should we have the Christians claim Jerusalem? We just got to study history, man. Let's just not make the same mistakes that was already done in history. Like, oh, look, Christians took over. Oh, look, now Muslims took over. Now the Romans took over. Now the Persians took over. Now this group took over. Now, like, yeah, bro, we really gotta, we just gotta come up with new solutions that haven't already been exhausted in the last 10,000 years of history that we have. And yeah, Trisha, yeah, I was specifically talking about medical and parental choice for RFK. So this is my point, is that even with these ideas, when you show that you're not leading based off of a place of principle in politics, then you can say that you believe in medical and preferential choice, or sorry, parental choice, but as the anti-vax Democrat, one thing changes and they'll all be the first in line to go get the vaccines. So that's why I just implore people to read between the lines and also just recognize that, hey man, like I'm not saying I'm looking for some guy that I agree 100% with. You know, I loved Ron Paul. I didn't agree with 100% of what Ron Paul said back then. But you generally just have to find that common ground and you spend your valuable time interacting with people who you do feel you can actually come up with diplomatic solutions together with. Now, this is what we hear about the problem with extremism, right? Extremists on one side and the other on every side don't want to move in their ideologies, because by doing so, it becomes less and less their ideologies and philosophies. And as we were talking about earlier with, anarcho-capitalism and empire state style ideas, this is just empire games. It's like, yeah, by literally, if I have to come up with a pragmatic solution, then that is not going to fall directly within Rothbardian libertarian philosophy, right? But we have to just come in to find that common ground and find what works for everybody, what works best for everybody. What works best for everybody might not work the best for just me. And that's something that's very hard for a lot of people to recognize. Do you think Biden versus Trump election is? Yeah, if you guys are in the chat right now, please answer your questions right now. I'm gonna be going through this. Let's see. Got maybe a better question. So we'll definitely. Can you also share your thoughts? Yep, got that, got that. What's up, y'all? What's up? So we got maybe a better question. Which candidate that has a legit chance to win do you think has the least bad policies? Realistically speaking, right now we can just make a general assumption based off of evidence that it's going to be Biden versus Trump. Okay. Unless something changes, we have to assume what's directly in front of us because, again, like I said earlier, people have very short memories. But if you all remember when Biden was running for president, everybody was saying there's no way that guy would get elected. There's no way he'll be the Democratic candidate. Then he got elected as Democratic candidate. There's no way he'll be the president, and then he got elected as president. And then people kept saying like, "Oh no, they'll replace him. They'll replace him." Bro, it's been years. It's 2023 now. He's literally still there. So we could just make the assumption based off of evidence. Do I think there's a probability that something's going to change? Some new front runner could come in on either side? Sure. Does American history show that? American history, at least the political history that I've been involved in, from my experience, shows that when a political party picks their person, that's who they're going to get. And we can go look back at Ron Paul 2008 and Ron Paul 2012 to see that no matter what we did in the they rigged the elections to make sure their guys win and not Ron Paul. And we see that. And we'll talk about that on another. So has the least bad policies, dude, that's a lesser evil between Trump and Biden. So, I'll leave that to you. For me, I clearly have decided on that topic. You could just ask yourself what your life was like in the there we go. Sorry about that. Just a lost connection there. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Moving on to the. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me answer that before I go. Okay. Lesser evils. One guy came into the government. There was no new wars that started. One guy came into government and implemented massive tax cuts that directly benefited Americans. And the other side, the way I look at the Biden regime today is it's kind of like Obama 3. It's like Obama's third term. So the destruction that Obama was causing in his 8 years as president pretty much just it was like a pause button got hit. And then when Biden came into office, it was like they pressed play again and continued on the destruction that they were doing. Remember, Obama came into office and he and then the financial collapse happened. I mean, we could blame George Bush. You could blame the people before, right? It's always the tactic of like, let's blame the last president. Okay, let's focus on what's directly in front of us, motherfuckers. Like, what's directly in front of us is that George Bush is not president anymore, okay? Barack Obama's not president anymore. Donald Trump's not president anymore. The current president is president. So just objectively speaking, was your life better when Trump was president, just your personal life, or is it better today? Just objectively. Think about those years and think about these years. So, not to say like I'm endorsing a candidate right now, but if you have to lesser evil me, back in the day, no, even before this election, like the lesser evils was they were both the same. They were so similar, right? But like I said, if one side comes in, actually think about it. When Trump was president, CBD got legalized, y'all. Like that influx of CBD that you all got, the fact that I got to create a legal business, Trump was president. He could have vetoed that. He didn't. And look at hemp and cannabis laws since Biden has been in power, so like this is an important comment too. Like they're all puppets. The presidents, the real people in control are people like Henry Kissinger. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, yeah, these are the puppet masters, right? But that all being said, Democrats and Republicans on policy still are different in certain positions that can directly affect your life, like guns. And it's like, okay, well, if you're on that side, I know you're generally probably going to be more favorable to the guns than if you're on that side. So this discussion we're having is just within allowable opinion. Like the people on the outside that are pulling the strings, that's not the conversation that is being had when somebody's asking, like, gun to your head, this guy or this guy. And in that scenario, I just have to objectively, within that small lens, make a choice. And that's why I don't act in that small lens. But if, gun to your head, you have to, I'm going to objectively, logically deduce until I get to the more efficient answer. So yeah, that's all right. Let me go through some more of these. Let's see. We got Shake over here. They're literally talking about the girl who just died in Iran for not wearing hijab and also saying that I stand with Israel. Shaking my head. Well, Shake, if you're here right now, Zionism arguably was created in ancient Iran. I mean, Book of Esther. I brought it up earlier. Go study who was being called a Messiah by Jewish people. The king of Persia. Look at how often the Medes and the Persians are not just discussed, but praised for what they did with the Jewish people. So Iranians and Zionism is a tale as old as time. And actually, one could make the argument that, well, I mean, it's in your religious texts and stuff too. Like when the Persians took over Babylon, they saved the Jews. They're like, hey, bro, we're going to come on over here. We're going to take care of you. You can practice your religion. You're good. Jewish people became a part of the Persian Empire. They held positions in government. So that's why I say go read the Book of Esther. That's literally a story about Esther and an Iranian king and like a plot to take out the Jews and how the plot was thwarted. And so don't be shocked when Iranians are, repping Israel. Again, it's a lesser evil, right? It's a lesser evil argument. So to them, they're choosing a lesser evil. So in their mindset, their lesser evil is who's more evil, the Zionist state of Israel or the Islamic Republic of Iran? They deduce that they choose Israel. So, you're going to be mad about it. Like, I'm just like, I just try to be impartial, like just try not to let your emotions lead that discussion, So what's up, everybody? Say what's up. In reference to my older comment, Iranians hate Islamic Republic and associate any Muslim Arabs with it as one reason why they may be pro-Israel. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm explaining here, Sheikh, is that the Iranian and Jewish connection is much older than the Arab Muslim conquest of Iran, where for over 1,000 years since the Arab Muslims first conquered Iran, they've been trying to erase Iranian culture and replace it with Arab Muslim colonialist culture. And that's it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of Muslims, is that like, hey, your group also colonized the shit out of people, including my ancestors, my fucking people, including to this day. So if I can say that and remain impartial, imagine what emotional Iranians are thinking, like, hey, these are the people that came in, they made us stop using our language, they made us use their names, they forced their culture on us. And a lot of people view they forced their religion on us. So there's this like split between Muslims that are like, oh no, like it was voluntary. Like, dude, that's just like, yeah, a lot of people did voluntarily convert, and there has to be popular support if the Arabs are going to conquer the Persian Empire, right? Like there had to be popular support in Iran. There was support by Iranians to help the Arab Muslim invaders when they first took over Iran in the 600s, I believe, right? Like 600s, 700s. Like right when Islam, like right around when Islam was popping off, right? I want to give you the exact date. The conquest of, but yeah, 632 to 654. So like literally, they created Islam and they're like, all right, bro, we're going to Iran. So make yourself an impartial observer and try to remove yourself from getting emotional about that. I'm like, do you see what I said? I'm like, yeah, those conquerors came into my ancestors' land. To this day, they force the Islamic Republic forces Iranians to have Islamic approved names. You can't use these ancient Iranian names in Iran. If you go to if you want to put that on your birth certificate in Iran, there's an office in Iran that will reject the name and tell you that like, nope, you can only use this, or they don't even tell you. They don't even have a real list. But like, if you use a name that is against Islam, then they won't let you use that name in Iran. So imagine if in America, the American government tells a native Indian American, you can't call yourself Running Wolf, or however you would say Running Wolf in your Native American language, right? Imagine that. They don't do that. America doesn't do that. The Arabs have done that. So this is why I implore you. It's like, bro, this is all just empire games, y'all. It's a tale as old as time. You don't think it's a tale as old as time because you're only existing in this exact moment in time, in this physical vessel, and not tapping into any other of your soul's experiences to see where you've been and where you're going. So that's why I say just study history, because when you study history, you'll see tale as old as time. So, now they're the ones who took over. Now they're the ones who took over. Now they're the ones who took over. So, do you remember how Jesus Christ died, y'all? It was the Roman imperialists who were colonizing that land. Like, this is why we need to come up with new solutions, y'all. We can't keep going through the same fucking cycles over and over and over, because the same cycles are going to create the same fucking results. So let me read some more of these. Hey, thank y'all for writing your comments in here. I really appreciate them. It's really fun to talk to y'all. Thank you for staying peaceful and loving as well. Very greatly appreciated. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get some better light there. All right. Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Let's see. Israel prefers radical Islamists over secular government. Yeah, if you said that, add on to that comment. Let me know what you think about that. That's an interesting comment. I could see some arguments for that. I'm gonna read through some of these Instagram comments. Hello. If you are here, say what's up on Instagram. How y'all doing? All right, let's see. Gotta look at the big picture and see who is really being oppressed and occupied. Yes, indeed. All right, let me read some more of these. Actually, I need to see if we got any live comments coming from. There's some platforms where I can't see the comments coming in. So if I have not responded to your comments, please move on to Rumble and Twitter. If you haven't done so yet, give me a follow on whatever platform you're watching me on. We greatly appreciate it. And also give me a follow on Rumble and Twitter at Amir Zen Official. It's the same across platforms, my handle. And that's where you can hear me when the censorship goes real high. So, all right, let me read a few more of these comments. Let's see. Hey, thank you all for your comments. Thank you all. A lot of these to go through. All right. I like that one. I heard about this libertarian presidential candidate from Argentina, and he has won the primary. Any thoughts about him? My thoughts are the same thing I said about Vivek and RFK. Actually, he's a hardcore Zionist shill. So, that's a big split we've had in the liberty movement as well, is like, when hardcore libertarians also promote Zionism, which in its current form entails a big government style system, then it's just problematic. So I think it's pretty dope that we are moving towards a structure and moving towards more popular people who are talking about these libertarian ideas. So that's my thoughts on him. My thoughts are that the dude says a lot of good things about economics. Sounds like a Mises Rothbard type student. And would he be better than the alternative? Probably. But so my thought is like, if you all are in America and you're seeing this Argentinian guy, then why don't we all, try to do something like that in the United States? And that's why I implore people, like, if you got ideas, go get involved in politics. That's, look at this guy. He got involved in politics, and look, now you're talking about some politician in Argentina. So look at the power that politics has. A lot of people in the liberty movement will say, like, there's no solutions in politics. Working government is evil, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, dude, that's the most direct solution, objectively speaking, that you can have. Wow. Yeah, religion is to God what government is to freedom. Oh, that was, Trisha, you on fire. You on fire tonight. Religion is to God what government is to freedom. That is, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's I've hit on it a bunch of times. Direct connection to God. And it's the same with freedom. You got to have your direct connection to freedom. If your connection from freedom comes through a government, it's going to be a losing battle, my friends. So make sure that it's coming from a place of freedom. All right. So if y'all also haven't done so, because I'm gonna take some more Specker deep recovery right now. If you haven't done so yet, please check out my business at speckerhealth.com. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know about Specker, that's my company, and I am the CEO and founder and also product formulation scientist of Specker. So all the ingredients lists that come from Specker are made directly by myself. And Specker is a self-funded business as well that is completely funded by ya boy, myself. So your support is always greatly appreciated, even if it's not to buy the products. Check out the Specker library where you can read about scientific studies on health, ingredients, and lifestyle, and read the summaries of these in-depth scientific studies that I wrote. So is just as much of an education platform as it is a product platform. So that is greatly appreciated. So if you're in the United States and can check out Specker, or even if you're not, but you can't get the products outside right now. So yeah, I'm gonna. So I would also like to read through a couple of these tweets real quick before I head out. I'm going to be here for another about 20, 30 minutes. So if you're here right now, leave your comments. Let me know what's up. Say hello. And just let me know what you're thinking. This is a pretty hot, emotional topic. And we got the chat going off on all these platforms. But on the bright side is that while the chat is going off, it's staying super peaceful. This is what I'm talking about. If I was having this stream years back, you'd inevitably be getting people in the chat that were shit talking. There would be a lot more. And right now, it seems like the reason that I came to do this stream today is being reciprocated by the people who are viewing this live right now, which is so hopeful. That gives me hope. That's a positive, hopeful future for me. Let's see. Yeah, Jerobe says, I've tried getting into politics once, but at times it could get messy real quick. Yeah, this is my point, is that you don't go into politics thinking that you're going to have some utopia and some great experience. You go into politics to be a line of defense against all-out war. That's what it is. Nobody's saying politics is unicorns and rainbows. The times that I spent in politics was not generally pleasant. It's not like working in the market economy where, typically it's more pleasant, It's not pleasant. It's the one line of defense between your civilization and going to total war. So the more people that can be on that first line of defense in politics, and with better ideas and saturate American politics more, because as you see, most people in politics, they just come in and out. A few years in, they're like, bro, this fucking sucks. And then they leave. So, it's not easy to stay in politics for a long time. So, yes, you can check me out, Amir Zen Official, Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Kick, Instagram. I am all across social media, and giving your boy a follow would be greatly, greatly appreciated. So let me read through some of these tweets. Let me know what y'all think of these. This is interesting too, because a lot of these, they're not something that I've been able to see on social media with easy access like I have on my suggested feed on Twitter. When you go on Facebook and Instagram's suggested feed of people you follow, you're not going to be hearing about apartheid and so this is from so Thaddeus Russell wrote, any American who had to live in a place like Gaza would support the terrorists. if you think things are bad in Israel, like go see what things are like in Gaza. It's an open air prison. It's horrible living conditions. They cut their resources off regularly. So we got Cernovich here on Twitter. Very surprising to see what he's writing, because I thought that he would jump in with Con Inc. and take the conservative Inc. Typical normie position, but here he is not taking a more impartial position. Cernovich says the Muslim hate within conservatives never died. Interestingly enough, I think a lot of us thought that it was on its way out, but what the last few days has showed us, no, not at all, not at all. Seeing people advocating for the ethnic cleansing of an entire people due to the actions of a regime it can't control. Imagine if that standard was applied to Americans, which slaughtered civilians under Bush and Obama. So think about that, y'all. We got a Joe Walsh here says Israel is a tiny, tiny, tiny island in a sea of Islamic tyranny and terror. Israel is a strip of land the size of New Jersey, surrounded by all sides by countries, governments, all pledged to Israel's destruction, surrounded on all sides by people who do not believe in Israel, believe Israel has a right to exist. All these people on all sides attack Israel every day. This is what Israel has to live with since its founding. Yeah, which is a perfect example of why everything I was saying in this entire live stream is generally going towards a more peaceful solution, because the alternative is just doing what this guy did, just continuing and then just hoping things get better. It's like, what the fuck? This is one from Andrew Torba, is the Gab CEO, I believe. It says hang gliders, bro. This Israeli security system literally just got fucked by dudes in hang gliders just flying over the border. So this whole like border wall shit, like, bro, it's very easy to get past border walls. Like, look what they did. They just went and like cut one area of the border wall and they just all went through. You can see it. Torvald also says the same people who will claim you want to genocide them for making even the most mild criticism or joke are openly calling for genocide all day today on my timeline. Yeah, me too. Here's one from Keith Woods. Says, while Palestinian fighters were given strict orders to respect churches and monasteries, Israel responded to the attacks by bombing a mosque in Gaza. And of course, the community note says Israeli forces have claimed that the mosque is a base of operations for Hamas. That's the argument they use for every single building that they bomb. So it's just like one of those, whoa, we got the USS Liberty trending on Twitter right now. Oh, shit. Yo, if y'all know what the USS Liberty is, or if you don't, now is the time. Now is the time to see if the state of Israel really is our ally, or if they just use us for their own benefit while saying they're our allies. Alan McLeod writes, if you're wondering what the Israeli elite think of what's going on, here's what the Times of Israel published just after the previous Palestinian uprising. The title of the Times of Israel article is, When Genocide is Permissible. This is what they're writing about on the Times of Israel, okay? This is a picture from the Sderot Cinema. Israelis bringing chairs to hilltops in Sderot to watch latest from Gaza, clapping when blasts are heard. Yes, 2014, I remember posting about when they were bombing Gaza back then. The Israelis would literally sit at the border and watch the bombs drop and cheer as countless Palestinians were being terrorized to death by bombs. So Samira Khan says, Israel harvests organs from dead Palestinians. Israel cuts off their water access. Israel is the occupier. Palestine is the occupied. That is the difference. And again, future positive solution so that there is no occupy and occupier debate even. That's where the solution needs to come from. That this debate that's currently existing needs to stay in the past. Beardson Bradley says they keep telling us that it doesn't have influence over American politics, but look how animated everyone is right now. Damn. War Monitor says the former head of the Mossad told CNN, we did not receive any warning of any kind. And what happened today was a complete surprise. Lucas Gage says, we spent billions of dollars defending Israel's border while ours is left wide open. And it was infiltrated by Palestinians using Mad Max tier technology. You can't make this stuff up. Brian Cates says, they realize their Ukraine money laundering operation is getting shut down no matter who the new speaker in the U.S. House is. So they need a new war fast, where everyone will agree we need to send billions to the new war theater just as quickly as it can be arranged. Playbook known. If you've been around long enough, you know what this playbook is. This is a funny, this is a good one. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think about this one. The question is, you see one, okay, so this is like a conversation that they're having. So you see one side is 85 IQ Muslims with a propensity for violence. Yes. And the other side is a 115 IQ, debatably European ethnicity running an apartheid state. Well, obviously the second group then. Well, what if I told you the second group hates Christ? So Americans, you know, American Christians, this is something to think about right here, you know? What if I told you the second group hates Christ? Damn, that makes it hard for the American Christian right when you put it into that perspective. And again, this is why I say it's like, dude, what about the Palestinian Christians? Why don't they ever get talked about? There are a huge number of Palestinian Christians. I have a bunch of Palestinian Christian friends, and they rarely get discussed in this debate. You know, if you're an American Christian watching this, you should recognize that the Palestinians are just Muslim. There's a big Christian population that still lives there. And they are very oppressive towards Christianity, just like they are against Islam and any other belief system that goes against Zionist supremacy. And we see that when they, won't let Christmas trees in Bethlehem, for example. Like I remember years ago, that was a thing. Like the mayor was banning Christmas trees on Christmas in Bethlehem because Christians are doing it, and it's like not okay because they're Jewish there, and you know, it's like, dude, what the fuck? So, as you see, you know, the theme has been like, dude, this one side needs to like just, y'all need to just shut the fuck up and come at the table. Like, this is not going to be a winning long-term strategy if you keep playing this game of just alienating everybody except the people who agree 100% with you. Let's see. This is from trying to read some of these shorter ones. Let's see. So got Peter St. Owen here says, so at this point, our proxy war in Ukraine has cost us $100 billion we don't have, drained Western armories, killed hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians, and 4, taught Hamas that cheap drones can defeat the world's top military equipment. So if you listen to what I was saying earlier, once you connect the dots of the very big picture, you start realizing every single part of this is interconnected. So this is a good one. Martyr Maid says, when Israeli attacks kill civilians, it's because Hamas uses human shields, even though Israelis use human shields all the time. when Russian attacks kill Ukrainian civilians, it's because the evil Russians target them. Reality in modern warfare, the vast majority of the suffering is borne by civilians. When was the last time any country won a war it could be proud of? It doesn't happen anymore. Modern conditions don't allow for it. Either the victory is an indecisive half measure, or else the awful things you do to win for real break the morale of your own population. So this is a issue with modern day war. It's full-scale technological advancements of war. It's like, instead of two groups just meeting in the middle of a field and duking it out, you got to get your cities involved immediately now because it's hard to differentiate. We see Max Blumenthal says, all those blustering Israeli ex-intel officials constantly descending on Western capitals and international security fairs to sell their field-tested surveillance tech and indigenous repression tactics will be seen as a bunch of used car dealers after October 7th. What he means is with the robust intelligence capabilities of the Israeli government, supposedly, that was their selling point. That, we stopped these people. And it's like, dude, you didn't. Here's one from Wyatt, Ulster at Ulstery Wyatt 1 says, be Israel, have all U.S. politicians under your thumb, have one of the largest global intelligence and surveillance operations known to man, have near infinite military support from U.S., have Iron Dome, somehow get surprised attacked by a bunch of brown men gliding into your country, get blown up by 5,000 rockets, but completely bewildered as to how they obtained arms and their plans. Am I seriously supposed to believe this shit? They knew nothing about what was going to happen. They welcomed this with open arms just to justify the ethnic cleansing campaign. Ukraine funding and war is growing boring for the U.S. machine. They need a new boogeyman. Israel was getting jealous of all the billions we give to Ukraine. That is another angle that they did know, and they let it happen. And what we see with examples like Pearl Harbor and 9/11 is that, yep, that is generally true. Let's see. We got another from Cernovich. Says 100. Oh, this is good. 120,000 Armenian Christians were driven from their homeland after being slaughtered by drones, sold to their attackers, and there was zero interest from conservatives and evangelical Christians. This is why I don't take you people seriously, is what Cernovich just said. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Azerbaijan just literally disappeared the Armenian population in Artsakh, the Republic of Artsakh, or whatever side wants to call it, which was a contested area that had a majority Armenian population, and the government in Azerbaijan, if you remember a few years ago when that war happened, and they came in and they just like, hey, we're about to come in. And literally they're just pictures and videos of just thousands of people just waiting in line to get into Armenia. And these are Christians. And the American conservative Inc., right, wants to pretend that they care about these people when nobody is even talking about them. So you just have to think about that. That's why it's great to see a guy like Cernovich realizing this, because like I said earlier, it's like, wow, I thought you were going to be one of those other dudes that were going to, side with conservative Inc. So let's see. All right. So if you are still here and watching right now, thank you so much. I have been here for over 2 hours today. And if you have not done so yet, please follow me on every social media platform that you enjoy frequenting yourself at Amir Zen Official. That is me. And you can check me out across all social media platforms. Give me a follow. Please share this video and my other content with your friends and family. And also, please check out my business at speckerhealth.com and see how you can reclaim your health in the easiest ways possible. That all being said, we got to finish this one off with the true message that I always want to impart, that I have said a few times here, but go find that balance in your life. Go seek freedom and happiness and love and connectivity, because this world is really on one extreme. And if you don't push to the other extreme of the goodness in this world, then you're only going to be living in the darkness. And to achieve the true yin and yang of this universe, you must go and seek and spend the same, if not more, time on focusing on the light than you do focusing on the dark. And from there, you will find balance. So if you're watching this, make sure to minimize your artificial light, maximize your natural light. If you want to go eat some carbohydrates, maybe just go eat some red meat first and then see if you want to go eat the carbs after. Go drink some water. You know, I got to go fill up my water right now. Shout out to Redmond's Real Salt, who I'm repping all the time. Mineralize your own water. Go get yourselves some, healthy stuff that is natural and free and available to all of you. And, also make sure to try out some Specker products and explore the goodness of naturally reclaiming your health. So I love y'all, and I will see you all very, very soon. I'm going to be I'm live streaming here multiple times a week. And the goal is live streaming to 1 million followers. So if you're here for the journey, thank you so much. I'll see you at 1 million followers. Love y'all. Peace. All right.